Arrowhead is hiring a monetization specialist. And this is super interesting to me for a few different reasons, so let's talk about it. Also, Arrowhead, if you're listening, consider this my application. There's a lot of really interesting things listed in the details for what this job is going to fully encompass. And if they find the right person for this job, it could mean a huge change for the game overall, I think, in a good way. They specifically mention key topics such as progression, grind to unlock versus purchase content, economy syncs, and bringing people back to the game and keeping them engaged with the game. So how can Helldivers monetize the game? Well, we've already seen the war bonds. I don't think they should change those. I think those are perfect as they are. You can buy them when they come out. You can save up for them with super credits. I love the war bonds. I don't want them to change anything about the war bonds. And we also know that they don't want pay to win. And I don't think the community does either. So we want to avoid situations where we're selling really powerful guns, stratagems, whatever it may be for real world money. We just don't want that at all. So how can they monetize it? Well, the number one answer that everyone's going to jump to is skins. And they're going to jump to that answer because it works. There's a reason why Overwatch has loot boxes. There's a reason why Fortnite releases 50 new skins every season. There's a reason why Call of Duty is the way that it is now, and skins are the answer to that. It works. People want to buy those. But I would hesitate to add skins to the game for a few different reasons. The main one being, I love the atmosphere of Helldivers, and I definitely think it would subtract from the game and the experience of the game if you're helldiving with Nicki Minaj and the Easter Bunny next to you, right? It doesn't feel good. In fact, when the game first came out, I believe that was said in the Discord by maybe a community manager or a person directly from the devs. Don't quote me on it. I believe it was someone who was involved with the company. That's why we don't have a Deep Rock Galactic crossover. Is they felt that the art style clashed with them and they didn't want this situation where you had like these two conflicting, very different art styles and different things existing in the same universe. It really subtracts from the experience. So if they want to add skins, I think they should do it, but there should be an easily accessible toggle within the settings that allows other players to turn them off so they don't have to see it. Then you can buy whatever ridiculous skin you want and play the game how you want, and I can see what I want to see. I think that is a perfect solution, and I think that is a valid way to implement skins without hindering their original vision for the game. But if they were to do skins, I would much prefer that they do something in universe or lore that would be much better, so they wouldn't need to have a toggle switch. And for that, I'm going to point to Star Trek Online. In Star Trek, there's this thing called the Borg, which is essentially these cyborg robot guys who they go in, they grab a race, they steal your intelligence, and make you a part of the hive mind. And now you're a part of them and you're no longer who you are. I would love a skin that takes that idea and basically Super Earth decommissions a couple of the automatons. We already have some like metal prosthetics on some models. So being able to play as like a full Borg would be really cool. And I think that, full automaton, not Borg, full automaton would be really cool if there was a lore explanation for it. I know another big one is weapon skins, but to be honest, like you don't see your weapon a whole lot. Like it's not a first person shooter where you see your glowing anime waifu gun in front of you the entire time. But I do think there is still room for a few different things for that. On the serious and in-universe lore side, you could do things like change the flames of your flamethrower to blue or green or rainbow or whatever. Same thing with changing the lasers that are fired from your weapon. Or if again you want to go on the sillier side with the option to turn it off for everyone else, I will reference Red Faction, I believe, had Mr. Toots, the unicorn that fired a giant rainbow out of its butt. Well, I mean, the las cannon is basically perfect for that, right? Like that's just begging to be remade here. Little things like changing the color of the laser cannon coming down from the sky, the orbital laser, or maybe changing Eagle 1. Things like that are easy little changes that I think people would be willing to pay a little bit of money towards. Or since they also want things to be grindable, you make it grindable as well. But I don't want to just focus on skins, because I think there's so much more they could do to monetize this game in a good way that would be healthy for the community. I think if they set up a competition or a tournament in a very specific way, it could bring in some money that they need to continue to pay their, bills and their devs, but also encourage a little competition among the community and give them a little bit of money. So here's my idea. And I don't know if this is fully legal, so I'm not a lawyer, but I think it would work. Say the first of the month, they open a set mission. The mission will never change. It is always the same enemies, the same objective, everything the same. And a squad of 4 can pay an entry fee of $5 or $10 or whatever it is and do the mission. And the goal is to compete against other people's mission times and see who has the best mission time. Essentially speedrunning. Now there's a lot of different little details you could put in, like should deaths count against the timer, should call-in for supplies count, all that would need to be figured out. But ultimately the core idea of, okay, 1,000 teams put in $5, so here's $5,000 to the devs, they keep 50%, 50% goes to first place, or 20% goes to first place, 10% to second place, and 5% to third place, I think would be a great way to get the community engaged with it, keep coming back for more, and really spend time practicing, saying, okay, well that tournament's opening up next week, next week's the first, so let's practice. Gives you an excuse to try new loadouts, try different things. And if you don't know what's coming ahead of time, oh, well, I'm only a bug diver. Well, it's bots, so time to practice with them bots. I think that would be a great way to get the community engaged in the game, get a little bit of money to the players who want to compete, as well as get money to the devs, which is ultimately the goal of monetization. Let's touch base really quick on the economy sinks and time played and progression. All three of those go really hand in hand. Right now, we know there's not like a whole lot of progression. Like, yes, you can level up, but level ups past level 20, 25 really are meaningless unless you really, really want a title. And most people who play a lot are already capped out on absolutely everything. So any sort of reward of samples or requisition slips really means nothing to them. So here are some ideas for some infinite progression, which is usually not something that you want in a game like this. For example, if you could pay max requisition slips to increase your damage by 1, well, by the end of the week, someone would be one-tapping everything because they'd be grinding out those requisition slips so fast to do that infinite progression, it would ruin the entire economy of the game. So that's out the window. But what I would love to see for progression, something to spend money on, something people might care about, would be adopt an SEAF force. Something to interact with the game when you're not able to play. I think there's a great many of us who are only able to play, on weekends or maybe one match before or after work, and other than that, we're not able to play a whole lot because life. But if I could spend some of my requisition slips and samples on an SEA force that I can then deploy to planets that need defense, that I can do a little like macro management of them and watch as they rack up kills or defend a planet in my name, and then I can continue to spend things for upgrades for them to make their defending planets a little bit better, or they survive a little bit longer, or whatever it may be, I think that's really cool. And I think it keeps people engaged with the game even when they're not able to engage with the game. The other obvious choice for getting rid of things like samples and requisition slips would be customization for your, I forgot the name, the Super Destroyer. They always talk about executing our goldfish. Well, where's our aquarium? Where's our goldfish? Better yet, give me a home on Super Earth to go back and visit. People love decorating their homes. Stardew Valley taught us this, The Sims taught us this, Animal Crossing taught us this. I know there's more than one person who's still subscribed to Final Fantasy for nothing other than to play with the home. Or something else that I've talked about with requisition slips is allow us to purchase those stratagem unlocks for certain planets or certain missions. Just like how the Orbital Napalm was unlocked for us for the last week or so, let us purchase for certain planets the ability to unlock stratagems as a group communal fund. It would have to cost a lot of requisition slips, but it would give someone something to do with those slips if they have nothing else to do, and it would be fairly easy to implement. Another couple random ideas for monetization in no particular order. People love stickers. And people love their cliches from war movies. Like, how many Vietnam movies have you seen where it has, Born to Kill on the side of the helmet? Allowing people small little stickers to be able to stick on their shoulder pads, on their cape, or on their helmet. That's Born to Dive, Certified Bug Hater, Rip and Tear. Things like that people would go nuts for, no doubt. Speaking of war movies, how many Vietnam movies did you see where the helicopters would have stereos blaring music as they're flying over? Let us put stereos on Eagle 1 or on Pelican 1. Having our own music as Pelican 1 swoops in and saves us and leaves would just be chef's kiss, the best. So if I was in charge of monetization, that's ultimately what I'd do. In lower universe skins, Or if I had to, out of lore universe skins, but with a button to disable it if you didn't want to see that. Super Destroyer / home customization, stickers for your helmet, speakers for your Pelican, and tournaments. If you were Monetization Director, what would you add to the game? Put it down in the comments below, and as always, have a blessed day.